Բարև ձեզ նորից բոլորիդ։ Իմ անունը Տոմաս Մազեջյան է։ Ես Project Management Institute Armenia-ի, այսինքն PMI Armenia-ի հիմնադիրի ու նախագահն եմ, եւ այսօրվա մեր հյուրը Վիկեն Պահլավանյանն է, որ ինքը արդեն որ տեսնում եք PMI-ի համարյա ոչ մի certification չի տողել, PGMP, PMP, RMP, ACP, PBA, երևի Վիկենը ավելի շատ կասի է certification-ների մասին։ Սկսելու համար ուրեմն PMI-ը non-profit organization է, որ professional organization է, հիմնված 1969 թվականին Ամերիկայում, կոնկրետ Ֆիլադելֆիայում, եւ հիմնական իր նպատակը, որ զարգացնի project management-ը եւ standardize անի այդ process-ները, որ կարողանան տարբեր կամպանիաներ կամ տարբեր գազագերբություններ, որ նույն լեզուն խոսան, երբ որ ուզում են ինչ-որ պրոջեկտներ ղեկավարեն կամ manage անեն։ PMI-ը ինքը սկսեց զարգանալ եւ Ամերիկայից արդեն սկսեցին ավելի մեծանալ եւ համարյա բոլոր աշխարհում հիմա արդեն մոտ 80 երկրից ավել 300 chapter ունի, ինքը chapter-ը մասնաճյուղի նման է եւ ինքը լինում է կամ երկրի կամ քաղաքի մագարտակով։ Եվ նպատակը նույնն է մնում, որ այդ chapter-ը կոնկրետ այդ քաղաքի կամ այդ երկրում ինքը պետք է զարգացնի project management-ը։ Հայաստանի PMI Armenia-ի մասնաճյուղը կամ PMI Armenia chapter-ը ինքը գործընթացը սկսել է 2014 թվականի նոյեմբեր ամսվան, ու որ մենք առաջին request-ը ուղարկեցինք, ու հետո արդեն պատրաստեցինք multi-year business plan, որ ասում են, այսինքն մեր business plan-ը, իմիջայլոց ասեմ, որ PMI Armenian եւ մնացած բոլոր chapter-ները իրանք հասարակական գազագերբություն են եւ հիմնված են ոչ շահույթի վրա եւ հիմնված են կամավորական սկզբունքներով, այսինքն տեղի բոլոր աշխատանքը, որ դարվում է կամավորական է, volunteer աշխատանք է, այսինքն սկսած իմ աշխատանքը, board member-ների աշխատանքը եւ բոլոր այդ համայնքի կամ community աշխատանքը։ 2016-ին ուրեմն այդ ստացանք այդ potential status-ը 2016-ին սեպտեմբեր ամսվա մեջ արդեն գրանցեցինք հասարակական գազագերբություն Հայաստանում, 17-ին ունեցանք մեր առաջին board election-ները եւ 18-ի հունվար ամսվա մեջ արդեն PMI-ը մեզ ճանաչեց իբր իր chapter-ը Հայաստանում։ 2018-ին կազմակերպեցինք մեր առաջին մեծ event-ը, որ անունը First Project Management Annual Conference-ն էր, PMBOK 2018-ը, իսկ 2019-ին արեցինք մեր երկրորդը PMBOK 2019-ը եւ կարծում եմ գիտեք, որ մենք պետք է որ նոյեմբերի 2020-ին նորից անեինք, բայց գիտեք, բարձ պատճառով որ COVID-ը եւ պատերազմը չկարողացանք կազմակերպենք այդ event-ը, բայց ուզում ենք այս տարի 2021 նոյեմբերին մեր կազմակերպենք երրորդ մեծ event-ը։ Ինչա PMI Armenia-ի մեր vision-ը։ Մեր vision-ը ուզում ենք դառնանք մենք ամենալավ պրոֆեսիոնալ կազմակերպությունը Հայաստանում, որ ուրիշ կազմակերպությունները մեզ դիմեն իբր իրանց ուղղություն տանք եւ իրանց ասենք, որ այսպեսի practice կա աշխարհում, այսպեսի ստանդարտներ կա։ Եվ մեր mission-ը մենք, ինչպես արդեն ասեցի, ուզում ենք օգնենք, support անենք, այսինքն որ աջակցենք ու զարգացնենք project management-ը Հայաստանում եւ զարգացնենք դրա զեկուցումը, այսինքն այդ մարդիկ ավելի շատ հասկանան, որ project management discipline կա եւ իր կարեւորությունը գազագերբություններում մեջ։ Այսօր Հայաստանում շատ տարածված է ինչքան գազագերբություններ կան, որ իրանք project-ներ անում են, բայց իրանք չեն հասկանում իր strategic կարևորությունը կամ իբր ստանդարտ ձևով չեն մտածում, այսինքն discipline չկա։ Ինքը ավելի շատ ինչ project manager-ը ոնց կցանկանա այդպես անում, բայց իրականությունը ինքը եթե discipline մոդեցում լինի, ինքը շատ ավելի շանսերը, որ այդ project-ը հաջողվի բարձրանում է։ PMI Armenian ինքը կամավորական սկզբունքներով աշխատում, անշուշտ այստեղ մենք պետք ունենք մեր համայնքին, այսինքն ուրիշ project manager-ներին եւ մեր անդամներին, member-ներին։ կարող եք դառնալ PMI Armenia-ի անդամ member, բարդատիր չի որ դուք project manager լինեք, բարդատիր չի որ դուք PMP կամ ինչ որ certification ունենաք, ցանկացած մարդ եթե հետաքրքրություն ունի PMI Armenia-ով կարող է member դառնալ PMI-ում, pmi.org այդ սայթը մտնում եք ու դառնում եք անդամ, վերջում միանում եք PMI Armenia chapter-ին։ Ինչա դալիս ձեզ։ Դալիս է որ excellent networking opportunities, այսինքն այդտեղ այդ համայնքում երբ որ սկսեք շփվել տարբեր ուրիշ մարդկանց հետ, որ եթե դուք project manager եք, այսինքն ձեր նման project manager-ներին հետ կարող եք շփվել տարբեր դոմեյններից, եթե դուք project manager չեք, բայց ցկտում եք դառնալ, կարող եք նորից շփվել ու այդ ձեզ ինչ որ կսովորացնի եւ ձեր network-ը կարող եք մեծացնել, աճացնել։ Grow your network արդեն ինչպես ասեցի, build and prove your project management skills, շատ անգամ կա որ մենք մեր կամավորների միջոցով project-ներ եք անում հենց chapter-ի համար, այդ կարող է որ ձեր համար, եթե ունեք ինչ որ քիչ փորձ կամ ուզում եք ցույց տաք ձեր skill-ները project management-ի, chapter-ը կարող է ձեզ ուղղություն տա կամ ձեզ օգնի, ինչ որ որոշ project-ներ ղեկավարելով։ Նույն ժամանակ մենք օգնում ենք տարբեր աշխատանքներ գտնելու համար, դեև մեր հիմնական մեր այս մեկը ֆունկցիան չի, բայց շատ անգամ կա ինչ որ եղել է շատ դեպքեր, որ գազագերբություններ դիմում են մեզ, ասելով որ մենք ուզում ենք ինչ որ project manager, այս պրոֆիլի project manager-ը պետք, խնդրում ենք ձեր կողմից ինչ որ recommend արեք, ում կարող եք, որ մենք կարողանանք իրան recruit անենք։ Անշուշտ այստեղ մեր ռոլը բարձրապես այդ երկու կողմերը միացնում ենք ու մենք չենք խառնվում նրանից հետո։ Արդեն ինչպես ասեցի, unique volunteering opportunities, որ այստեղ կամավորական սկզբունքներով է, այսինքն մենք այդ համայնքին ձեզ պետք ունենք, որ կարողանանք իրականացնենք project management-ի community-ին ավելի ուժեղացնենք Հայաստանում եւ վերջը ինչպես որ ասեցի մեր mission-ի մեջ, որ կարողանանք company-ները ավելի շատ հասկանան իր կարևորությունը եւ օգտագործեն այդ project management-ի practice-ները։ Անշուշտ նույն ժամանակ ստանում եք member դառնալով discount-ներ, որոշ chapter event-ների, conference-ների, որոշ tool-երի, որոշ resource-ների, որ online գտնվում են, եւ անշուշտ ով որ եթե ուզում է certification հանձնի, դրա վրա էլ եթե member եք, կարող եք discount-ներ ստանալ։ Իսկ եթե արդեն դուք PMP եք, հիմա չեմ ուզում խորանամ, բայց գիտեք որ PMP-ները կամ ուրիշ PMI certification-ները երևի weekend-ն էլ հիմա խոսա դրա մասին, ինքը PDU-ներ պետք է հավաքեք ու այդ մասնակցելով, այսինքն այդ PMI Armenia-ի որոշ event-ներին դուք կարող եք PDU-ներ հավաքել ու բահբանեք ձեր certification-ը։ PMI certification-ները Հայաստանում ամենաշատ տարածված է PMP-ն, հետո երևի CAPM-ը եւ ACP-ն, բայց ես շատ չեմ ուզում հիմա խորանամ, որովհետեւ weekend-ը արդեն պիտի խոսա այս certification-ների մասին։ Բարձրապես ուզում եմ որոշ statistics-եր հետ share անեմ, գիտեք որ 261 certified professional կա Հայաստանում, մարտի 2021-ի տվյալներով։ 261 այդ certified professional-ներից 230 PMP ունենք, 13 CAPM ունենք, 14 PMI ACP ունենք, մի հատ PMI PBA ունենք եւ երկու հատ էլ DASMs, այսինքն DASM-ները Disciplined Agile Senior Scrum Masters։ Իմիջիայլոց ուզում եմ ասեմ, որ 2019 թվականին օգոստոս ամսվա մեջ PMI-ը acquisition արեց Disciplined Agile-ի եւ արդեն հիմա Disciplined Agile-ը փորձում է ինքը certificate-ները միացնի ու դառնա PMI-ի մնացած certificate-ները լրիվ integrated։ Նորից ինքը չեմ ուզում շատ խորանալ, կարծում եմ, որ weekend-ը նորից այս որոշ բաներ խոսա դասի մասին։ Եվ անցնենք մեր այսօրվա հյուրին, Վիկեն Պահլավանյանին, ինչպես ասեցի, Վիկենը երևի ոչ մի certification չի թողել, կապված PMI-ի հետ, PGMP, PMP, RMP, PBA, ACP, եւ անշուշտ ուրիշ certificate-ներ, CSM, ACQ, Certified Six Sigma, Green Belt, etc. Այսինքն դեռ գա, բայց երևի բարձրապես համեստ է եղել, որ չի ուզում ավելացնի։ Եվ անշուշտ Վիկենը PMI Authorized Instructor է, ինքը գտնվում է Դուբայում, Էմիրատներում, եւ ունի շատ երկար փորձ ինքը տրեյնինգում։ training image, PMI certificate-ների հետ կապված։ Չեմ ուզում շատ երկարել, արդեն ուզում եմ փոխանցեմ հիմա screen-ը Վիկենին, որ սկսե իր presentation-ը։
Thank you, Thomas. Parirgun, ինչպես եք? For the sake of the training, we're gonna continue in English, but I fluently speak Armenian. So when we reach any Q&A or you guys have any questions, you can ask me in Armenian and I can answer in Armenian. Let me do a quick introduction. Ինչպես Thomas said, my name is Viken Pehlivanyan. I've been working in the industry for almost 15 years. I'm a project manager, consultant, trainer. I help organizations in establishing PMO offices, improving their project management processes, policies, standards, and implementing PMI or even non-PMI project management disciplines. I have several certifications from PMI, but our main focus in today's session will be focusing on what does PMI do, how can PMI help you in your career when it comes to certifications. Inchin, what are the certifications out there from PMI? Quick recap about each of these certifications, how it can help your career, whether you're working in a bank or you're working in any organization, how it can help you enrich your project management, program management, and portfolio management knowledge. Then we're going to go and talk about the new changes or the upcoming changes to the most famous PMP. Out of 260 people, professionals in Armenia, 230 of them are PMP. So the vast majority of project management professionals pursue the PMP certification. And I'm sure maybe some of you are already certified in PMP. Let's see what PMI is doing behind the curtains into improving their existing 6th edition to 7th edition. What are the changes? What are the exams? Whether you want to inform or take this information for your personal knowledge or to be able to answer questions from your organizations or communities about what PMI is doing when it comes to new changes of the 7th edition as well as the new exam. And then I will be happy to answer any question related to exam preparation, studying, content, anything related to any of these PMI certifications. So Thomas did a quick introduction about PMI, what do they do, etc., etc. I don't want to talk a lot about PMI. You can find this information online, but they're the leading organization when it comes to improving standards and content around project, program, and portfolio around the world. They're the biggest when it comes to these areas. Their certifications are very well known. They've become the leader for the past several years, and they're by far leading when it comes to certifications in project, program, and portfolio industry. As Thomas also mentioned, they have 7 or actually 8 official certifications, but they're adding 4 more related to disciplined agile. But the 8 existing certifications are available. I will go through them quickly. These are the number of certified people around the world. There are a total of almost 2.9 million professionals associated with PMI, whether through certifications or credentials or community work or chapters or volunteering or etc. Out of which more than 1.1 million are certified around 214 countries. They have 214 presence in 214 countries, 306 official chapters. The PMP certification is the most famous of them, almost more than 1 million. I don't have the latest stats because I get their latest stats from their PMI Today, which is a magazine they release every month. Based on my recent stats, there is around 1 million project management professionals, PMP certified people. But we're interested in this session to also discuss about what are the changes going into the 7th edition. Their second famous certification is the CAPM. CAPM is the Certified Associate in Project Management, is an entry-level certification to PMP. Anybody wanting or needing to do the PMP, Project Management Professional Certification, needs to have certain prerequisite, or we call it eligibility criteria. And the eligibility criteria for the PMP is a 3-year experience in the project management field, 35 PDUs, which are official professional development unit, official training hours or contact hours they call it, or plus a university degree. If they do not have a university degree, then this experience goes to 5 years. What about the people who don't have the 3 to 5 years experience? They don't have the working experience. They just graduated university. They're, fresh grad, working in the industry first year, second year. Then their alternative is to go for the Certified Associate in Project Management, the CAPM exam. CAPM exam uses the same material, which is the PMBOK. Both the CAPM and the PMP uses the project management body of knowledge, which is the guide in project management developed by PMI since the 1980s, which we're gonna review today, their 7th edition and the changes in the 7th editions. So these are their two major certifications. CAPM is an entry-level, associate-level certification for anybody having less than 3 years experience, and the PMP is the professional experience, anybody having more than 3 years experience. By far, if you look at the difference, by far, it's very similar to what PMI Armenia's number are. Majority, 90% plus of certified credentials are in PMP compared to others. But there are two main trending certifications out there. One of them is the PMI ACP, Agile Certified Practitioner. Recently, in the past 2-3 years, agility is becoming a trend. It's a different way or a different methodology in doing project management rather than the traditional waterfall or predictive project management. Specific industries, especially the IT industry, where agile project management works better for their own certain aspects. And I believe in Armenia there is a big tech and an IT sector, a lot of software development, a lot of focus on, so I think the Agile ACP, the Agile Certified Practitioner, could be the next big thing in Armenia or even around the world, as transformation, as digitization, as the technology, especially because after the COVID, is becoming a need. So more and more certified agilists or certified agile professionals is needed. And when it comes to agility, one of the gaps or the difficulty why organizations, they do not apply or they do not adapt agile project management is because of the lack of skills in the industry. Very few professionals know how to run an agile project. So that's a quick intro about the CAPM, ACP, and the PMP. Now, as a participant or as an individual growing your career, you can either grow up, go from PMP to more PGMP and PFMP. What's the difference? PGMP is program management, meaning you're not managing one project, you're now managing multiple related projects. So it's a bigger endeavor. It's a more complex work where you're managing multiple projects at the same time. So you have a more senior, more strategic, more governance role, and you're leading or you're dealing with different project managers into making their projects a success, having an overarching or supervising or a more governance role. Very few, only less than 3,000 certified program management professionals are out there around the world. And we don't have a single one in Armenia. Che Thomas, hopefully you guys, eventually some of you who are PMP could, grow your portfolios and go to the next levels. PGMP has more eligibility criteria. For example, you need to have 8 years experience in project and program management, 4 years project, 4-year program, in order to be even considered as a candidate to do the PGMP exam. So PMP, above it is PGMP, managing multiple projects, related projects. Above it is the PFMP, portfolio management professionals. These are individuals in organizations, for example, an individual in a bank or a big corporation, taking strategic decisions which projects the bank or this organization should invest. Deciding what should be part of the portfolio of the organization, and then managing that portfolio throughout the several years of the strategic plan into ensuring that the organization could reach its mission and vision or deliver value. So After CAPM, so if you see CAPM, PMP, CAPM, PMP, PGMP, PFMP, it's a ladder. You grow up from one level to the other level. But PMI has sideways certifications as well. You can become a specialist in risk management. So we learn in PMP, we learn in PGMP, we learn in CAPM about risk. But a full certification on risk management and a full exam on risk management makes you also a PMI risk management professional. So if you're a PMP, you can either become certified in a specialist. For example, you can add to your PMP credential a risk management professional, and now you know very well how to handle risks in your projects or in the organization. Or you can grow up to become a program manager and handle multiple programs or multiple projects in your organization. Apart from the risk management professionals, which is a specialist in risk, there is a project professional business analyst. A business analyst is an individual that looks pre-project, looks at the reasoning the project is being initiated. We check, we do feasibility studies, we do business cases, we look at decisions. Is this the right project to do? What are the risks? What are the values? What are the costs? We do some analysis, qualitative, quantitative analysis, and we present these information to the board of directors, to the senior management to take a decision. Is this a project we need to invest in, or this is a project we should forget and move on and focus on something else? So the role of business analyst is another very rapidly growing industry, not in PMI, around the world. Business analysts are very few and becoming a need because a lot of organizations do initiate project without the right kind of a study, and then somewhere in the middle of the project realizes or doesn't realize the value that initially decided to realize. So we want to make sure that we don't invest in project that does not deliver the benefits or the value we intend. That's why the role of the PBA is very important, to do the right study to make sure we're investing in the right project, especially for big projects. And the last or the least known certification for PMI is the scheduling professional. It's an old certification. Scheduling professional is somebody who's very detailed in scheduling projects. Usually a role of project planner. In big projects, there are certain roles where an individual could become a project planner. He takes this certification. He will learn all the details about how to properly schedule projects. So these are the 8 certifications currently on the list of credentials offered by PMI, with the number of certified people on the site. But as Thomas also mentioned, PMI has now 4 disciplined agile certifications that they're currently working on. The agility, or what they have as ACP, they're trying to enlarge their ACP portfolios and include more agile certifications, PMI agile certifications. So what they're trying to do, they have the disciplined agile scrum master, the ASM. They have the disciplined agile senior scrum master. They have the disciplined agile coach, and they have the disciplined agile value stream consultant. These are the 4 additional disciplined agile certifications or courses currently being offered. I think agility needs another, seminar or a webinar on its own to spend the right amount of time to properly explain what's the difference between the traditional project management and agile, what are the different Scrum, whether Kanban or SAFe, or what are the different agile methodologies out there. So I'm not gonna go deeper unless later in the Q&A you have specific questions about agility. We will cover that. So having talked about the different certifications, now let's move on and say where PMI is heading when it comes to the PMP. The first PMBOK was released in 1996, and the PMP certification was available since then. The first PMBOK had 9 knowledge areas and 37 processes. Since then, every 4 years, they have a 4-year cycle where they improve and they release a new project management body of knowledge guide, and they become more relevant or more work with the community. One of the good things of PMI is that they don't write the book themselves. The book is actually written by working professionals around the world. So anybody who's a working professional could become a volunteer, could actually write sections of the book, could actually review, could actually participate in it. So they're not writing project management from their perspective. They're writing how project management should be run from everyone's perspective, using different industries or different organizations or individuals around the world with different credentials and titles. So every 4 years they used to improve. The improvements were usually focused on how we can, extend the number of processes or become more detailed or meticulous or become more relevant to what's happening around the world, till they reached the 6th edition, where they realized they need to add agility. All the 5th edition, their focus was on focusing on the different processes. They eventually become so process oriented that people started saying, so if you want to pass the PMP exam, you need to memorize or you need to know the processes very well, the inputs, the outputs, the tools and techniques, memorize these in order to, so soon PMI realized, okay, we need to change what we're doing. So what they did with the 6th edition, they introduced agility. They created a guide, a very introductory guide into agility concept, and they started printing it with the PMBOK 6 and introduced Agile in the PMBOK 6. However, the exam did not contain any, even though the PMBOK 6 contained Agile references, but the exam was not, did not have very few questions about agility. What's now? Now we're moving to the 7th edition. If you see the changes between the edition 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, it's easy. They added one knowledge area between the 4th and the 5th edition, and they either added a couple of processes or removed a couple of processes. So every time we used to teach a class, we used to say, oh, the old edition had 42, the new edition has 44. The old edition was 47, now it's 49. They removed one process, they added 3. Those were the major changes, plus a couple of enhancements in the literature, in the content, etc., etc. The new edition is a big change. The 7th edition is, they call it the next evolution of project management, is a completely different way of what they used to do before. Before, they focused on processes. Now they want to minimize the process, and they chopped it into 3 areas. Okay, they are calling it the 3 domains. Okay, so what they have the 3 domains, which are people, process, and business environment. Previously, it was solely on process. Now 50% is on process. So now they cut the process into half. They really reduced the process. It's no longer process based. You're going to see later it's based on value delivery. It's principle based, has a lot of agile mindset. Or 42% of the material or the content of the PMBOK and the new exam is based on people. People meaning leading people. A project manager has to lead individuals or professionals into success. It's not only task oriented, it's not only steps 1, 2, 3, 4, it's also dealing with people. Managing conflict, solving conflict, the emotional intelligence, motivation, leadership, management, problem solving, delegating tasks. All of these are part of the people area. 42% of the material and the content and the exam will be people related. And 8% is the ability of the project manager to understand the business environment, both internal and external to the organization, which is related to the project, and how that environment affects the projects. Organizational policies, processes, procedures, or other environmental elements like weather or regulatory or legislative or politics of the country or the economy of the country, and so on. All right, so that's the next evolution when it comes to the material. So now if you can see, still the process is the core, but we went from a full process discipline into a 50% process, added a layer of people, added a layer of business environment, and added one new layer, which is value delivery framework. And this is something new. If you've been reading PMP or project management, this is something in PMI did not exist. As a project manager in the past, our focus was, if a customer comes to me, wants a service, wants a product, my job is to, as a project manager, to focus. What do you want? What is your scope? What are your requirements? Great. Let me give to you the scope. As long as the scope is on time, on cost, on budget, and on quality, this was considered a success. With the new innovation and with the new changes of project management around the world, organizations no longer are working as a buyer and a seller relationship. Organizations now work in a more partnership, more, we call it co-value creation. So if you Google later co-value creation is a new trend. You can see it in other ITIL, you can see it in Prince 2, you can see it in other disciplines as well, is that if there is a customer, and these comes from agility. In agility as well, the product owner, if you know what product owner means, and the scrum master, they work together for the success. Ideally, the customer and the project manager, they're not two different individuals representing two different entities, they are. But when it comes to this project, they're gonna be uniting. They're gonna help each other into creating value for each other. Your success is my success. So the success of the customer is the success of our team, and the success of the project and our team will lead into the success of the customer. So we are now introducing, and the new PM book, the second chapter is fully based on the value delivery framework in the PMBOK 7. And they discuss about the importance of the project manager not only delivering an output. We usually focus on the deliverable. We usually focus on the deliverable, as an output, we will now focus on the output or deliverable, but more than that, we will focus on how we are now value oriented, i.e. we don't only care about delivering a website for Thomas. We want the website to be success. So we will look with the customer on ways of how we can work together towards not only give you a website, but a website that will lead your organization or your concept into success, into more revenue, into more sales, into increasing your number of customers. That's what we're here for. We're here to co-create value. And I'm not here for give me your money, take your product, success. It's not my thing. It's your job. Deal with it. Find a marketing guy, let him help you. No, we're gonna partner because his success is our success. We're gonna be focused on value-oriented delivery. We'll still have the process groups or the different stages of a project: initiate, plan, execute, monitoring and control and close. There are no changes in this. These are still part of the processes. Majority of the processes and the concept, the process area haven't changed much. Okay, they just added some agility to it. In other words, the same processes that used to exist in the past, they renamed them and they restructured them, but they're still there. But they've grown the people. We used to be one chapter, and it was not even people, it was resource management. And the resource management is not only people and non-people, which is equipment, material, etc. Now 42% of the content is about the skill of the project manager when it comes to dealing with individuals, leadership, management, and all the skills that comes under that area. 50% is on the process and 8% is on the understanding of the environment. So we talked about the value delivery system. If I would spend a couple of minutes, this is from the new PMBOK 7th edition. By the way, PMBOK 7th edition has been postponed for a while. It was supposed to be released much earlier, but everybody knows due to the pandemic and the COVID, so many of the projects got postponed because the world changed and the way we used to work is no longer the way we used to work. And PMI got a lot of heat and got a lot of pressure because because they're sitting at home, they decided to become certified and do certifications. So the volume or their focus moved from creating a new book, which was the 7th edition, into how we're going to deal with this environment to help our people still get certified and do the credentials. So recently, PMI released a tweet or a LinkedIn message or a social media saying that the book will be released August 1. So the PMBOK 7th edition will not see light. You can pre-order now. You can put your pre-orders that when it's released, you'll get a copy. But the book will not be released unless August 1. Earlier, the dates were much earlier. Even there was a promise that the book was gonna be released at the end of 2020. I've personally seen first draft of the book very early 2020, but since then, because of the pandemic, things got postponed. So quick info about the value delivery system. Every organization has a strategy. In the past, we used to stop here. In the past, okay, an organization used to look at the strategy, come up with strategic objectives. Each strategic objective was used to come up with initiatives. Initiatives want to become deliverables. Deliverables needed capability. So this was the role. This was the area where a project manager comes into play. And this is the area where senior management, or I can call it, organizational steering committees or boards or governance used to look. So senior management looks at how we can convert our strategy into a deliverable. Then we need the skill of the project manager with his capabilities and his team in order to deliver the outcomes for us. And the benefits and the value, the project manager did not care. This area was after the outcome, was cared or was worried about the senior management. Now we're continuing this. Now we're involving the project management or the project manager and his team in the benefits and the value. We're continuing the cycle, making sure that the project manager will not just deliver us the outcome or the deliverable in terms of the output, but also will help us achieving the benefit and delivering value to the organization. And the value is realized when this product or service actually is usable, functional, acceptable by the stakeholders, and realizes the intended intention that was created. So this is one of the new additions, as we discussed, apart from the process, people, and business environment, this value delivery framework. Another concept of the PMBOK 6 guide, by the way, there is a website I could share where it actually compares. This is a PMI. It actually compares the changes from PMBOK 6 to PMBOK 7. Give me a minute. I'll come back and we'll review everything we need to review. Another new concept is the PMBOK 7. It's not gonna be, if you see here, the overall approach in the old edition was prescriptive. Okay, they used to prescribe, not descriptive, they used to prescribe based on certain processes, okay? Specific processes convert input to output using tools. That was their focus, okay? You have these 49 processes, you wanna do a schedule? Follow these 5 schedule planning processes. The new model is completely different. First of all, the new model is based on principles. Principles to guide mindset, actions, behaviors reflected in the body of knowledge for project delivery, agile, lean, customer-centered design. So many new words. Agile, lean means efficiency, effectiveness. Customer-centered, meaning we focus on the customer as well as we focus on the product. We don't focus just on the delivery. So we're moving away from just a process-based. Process is still there, but the focus is no longer just process. We're moving into becoming more principle-based. And a lot of agile concepts are principle-based. A lot of other project management disciplines are principle-based. And PMI came up with their own. They created 12 new principles. Some of these principles, you can see them in other industries. Some of them exist very similar in Agile, others exist very similar in Prince2 or ITIL or SAFe or Scrum, but they created 12 principles where it guides, it provides guidance for effective project management. It's like, it's like an umbrella. If you want to do project management, we are guiding you to follow these 12 principles. All right. So chapter 3 of the PMBOK 6. Remember, chapter 2 was value-driven delivery. Chapter 3 is about the 12 principles. So what are the 12 principles? Be diligent, respectful, and caring stewardship. This comes ethics and social responsibility, especially doing project with different cultures, different, build a culture of accountability and respect. We're moving away from the concept of the project manager is fully responsible and accountable for the success or failure of the project. And we're teaching the project manager Listen, you need to create an environment where others understand if this fails, it's not only on you. Everybody should be having this shared accountability and respect for our success. Remember, we're all in it together, so we want to do this. Number 3, importance of engaging stakeholders. Why? Because we don't want to do what we want to do. We don't want to do what we want to do. We want to do what the stakeholders want. Because at the end of the day, we're reaching a stage where a company doing a product, but nobody buying the product, you go out of business very soon in this very fast moving way. If you do a mobile, if you're number 1 leading mobile operator in the world or the hardware, if you do a product but people don't buy, you're out of business very soon. So we don't want to do any project, any product, any service without making sure that there is the acceptability of the stakeholders. Will the stakeholders accept this? Will the stakeholder buy this? Will the stakeholder watch this? You know, because they could boycott. Social media, couple of messages, your movie, no one will see. Your product, no one will buy. Why? Because you did not look into their interest or needs when you were designing or creating these concepts. Focus on value. Focus on value, repeat it again in the principles. Recognize and respond to system interactions. Motivate, influence, coach, and learn. Tailor the delivery approach based on context. That's one of the other concepts. In the 6th edition, we had something, if you can see at the end, we have something called tailoring guidance. So every time there was a process, they used to write a paragraph or 2 about, can you tailor? Because the 49 processes of PMBOK was based on them, should be applied to all industries or most industries in most projects, most of the time. Okay? But a lot of organizations felt that it's too rigid sometimes. That's why in the PMBOK 6 they had something called tailoring guidance. So they used to write that this process can be tailored, but to tailor have this, guidance. Okay, so they had in the 6th edition reference to tailoring, but no specific guidance. They just reference tailoring, that you can tailor, but without specific way how to tailor. In the new edition, for every process, there is a specific do's and don'ts about how to tailor, what are the steps to tailor. So specific tailoring guidance is provided at the end of every process. Build quality into the process and results. Address complexity using knowledge, experience, and learning. Address opportunities and threats, which is related to risks. Be adaptable and resilient. This is more agility. So this concept appears in agility concept like Scrum. This appears in Agile or Six Sigma. This appears in Agile. Focus on value appears in ITIL, Prince 2, Agile. So many, if you know different project management or agility concepts, you can see that these are not completely new concepts that PMI created them. PMI took a couple of things from here, and created 12 good principles that could guide any project management, any team, and enable change to achieve the envisioned future state. So these are the 12 principles, chapter 3 of the new PMBOK guide, where we're focusing. If we go back, remember here we said the older edition were based on knowledge areas and processes. The new knowledge area is still based on, but we no longer focus on knowledge areas. These 10 knowledge areas, no longer have a focus as used to have. What were the knowledge areas? If some of you know the knowledge areas in the older, from the 1st edition till the 6th edition, we used to have these knowledge areas, 9 or 10, okay, which were the scope, time or schedule, cost, quality, what else? Communication, resources, procurement, yes, stakeholder, risk, and what combines all of these together was the integration. Stakeholder was not there in earlier editions. Starting the 10th edition, they made the stakeholder. The new edition goes away from these 10 knowledge areas They introduced something new now called performance domains. Okay, remember, if I ask you what is the success criteria of a project, people who are PMP or older edition of PMP used to say success criteria is solely based on 4 things: achieving the scope, okay, on time, on cost, on quality. These were what we used to call the KPIs or the baselines we need to achieve. With the new edition, we now extended these 4 into 8 performance domains, project performance domains. And if you can see the performance domains, okay, planning, project work, delivery, measurement, uncertainty, stakeholder, team, and deciding what will be the life cycle. Is it going to be predictive or is it going to be agile? That's one of the reasons for project success. Because if you do a wrong decision and you decide to do predictive where the project should be adaptive, then that could lead into project failure. So these are the 8 project performance domains. By the way, these information, you can find them on PMI website. These are publicly available information. If you go to the certification, I could share you the link about all you need to know about the 7th edition. I can put it in the where did our chat go? Okay, here. So I can put a link for you on the chat. If not now, but later, if you click on the link, you'll know more about these changes that are coming or are part of the PMBOK 7 guide. So another new concept is the performance domains, moving away from just scope, cost, quality, and a schedule, and moving into 8 different performance domains. Focus on development approach, focus on the planning, importance of planning, importance of change, importance of stakeholder management, importance of team management, as well as the other areas of the performance domains. All right. Yalla, let's continue. A lot of information. Let me just... Okay. So, if we get a quick look at how the new book and the material will look like. Now we have these domains. Okay, remember we have 3 domains and 8 performance domains. The 3 domains are people, yes, process, and business environment. So we have the people, the process, and the business environment. That's the domain. Under each domain, we have tasks. Tasks. They remove the word process. They don't want to be, process based. Why? They cannot call this a process because they can, under the process, they cannot have sub process. And under the people, they cannot have process. It will confuse people. So what they have done now, what they have is they have a people domain, and inside the people domain, now they have tasks. Okay. So remember, these were the old processes. Identify stakeholders, develop a team, manage a team. We used to call these processes related to managing stakeholders or people. The new edition, first of all, these processes, are now being converted into tasks, and they are under the people domain. So what we have a domain, 3 domains, people, process, business environment. In each domain, we have tasks. So in the people domain, these are the tasks. In the process domain, these are the tasks. Look, they are numbered 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. And the second domain is numbered 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. They're not in order because they did a different ordering, but there are 17 different tasks in the process domain. There are 14 different tasks, or 15 in the people domain. And there are 4 tasks under the environment domain. They used to call these processes. Okay, now they don't call it processes anymore. They call it tasks. So in each domain, we have a specific tasks that as a project manager you do in order to manage that domain. Okay, which is managing people. To manage people, you need to manage conflicts. That's a task. Okay, and each task has enablers. Enablers mean in order to manage people, how you can manage people. In order to deal with conflicts, how you can deal, what enables you to deal with conflicts. Okay, so I would show you one example, how this will eventually be translated, because I don't have it in these slides, but I could show you in another slide. Okay, so something like this. All right. So for the people domain, there is a task 1.6, build a team. To build a team, this is the task. This is the task, and this is the people is the domain. So inside the domain, we have this task numbered as 1.6. This task has several, what are these? These are enablers. Enablers. In order to build a team, we need to determine project team member requirements. We need to appraise stakeholder skills. We need to support diversity and inclusion, and so on and so on. But in order to do these, as a project manager, we need to know a lot of tools and techniques or deliverables. We need to know what Rasi chart is. We need to know what a focus group is. We need to know how to deal with virtual teams. We need to know how to do with what is information radiators and how to deal with them. And we need to have a lot of, deliverables. What are deliverables? Outputs, documents. A resource management plan is an output, a team directory, an organization chart. So deliverables are what we used to call them as outputs. Tools, it's the same name. In the past, we used to have tools and techniques. Now we're calling them tools. And in order for us as a project management to do this and to do this and to do this, we need certain knowledge or know-how. We need to know what the generalizing specialist is, or we need to know how we can identify physical resources, and so on and so on. So the new tasks, which are the old processes, are all based. Each task has a set of enablers. Each enabler rely on certain tools and deliverables and certain knowledge. Plus or minus, if somebody reads the old edition, of the PMBOK 6 and the new edition of the PMBOK 7, you can see a lot of these are already covered in a way or two in the 6th edition. These are not completely new concepts that PMI created them overnight. Many of these already were covered in the 6th or even the 5th or even the 4th edition. But now it's organized or structured in a different way. Rather than being structured into processes, now they are being structured into domains, each domain into tasks, each task into enablers, and enablers needs tools and deliverables to be executed. Content-wise, 80% of the content of the 7th edition is the same. The 20% new content is agility related. It was not there in the 6th edition because in the 6th edition there was not so much focus on the agility. There was an additional book, but people used to not study because it rarely came into the exam. But now, the additional book, which will be part of the new PMBOK 6 guide, and the agile concepts will come as part of the the book and as part of the tools. Yani inside the tools, you're going to see a traditional tool and you're going to see an agile tool. So you're going to see a mix of tools, how to deal with projects. So that's about the 7th edition book. It's not going to be out till the August 1. That's the date we have now. If somebody tells you I have studied the 6th edition, okay, will I be completely new with the 7th edition? No. A lot of the information that you took in the 6th edition is still relevant. It's still relevant in the 7th edition. It's just that you have to reread it because the structure is different, the chapters is different, and the approach, or it's no longer focused on process, it's focused on dealing with people, dealing with the environment as well as the processes, and plus it's a principle based rather than just focus on the product, it's focused on the value as well. Now, what about the exam? Let me do the exam as well, and then I'll give you a Q&A time. Now, PMI was very anxious to release the exam. They released the exam before the book. Okay? I don't know was that a good thing or a bad thing, but what happened is that it's at the end of the day, when numbers go down, you need to encourage people with something new to increase the numbers. So they rushed and they released the exam a bit earlier with the pandemic. They postponed the exam multiple times as well. So they didn't want to release it, but eventually they got pressured to release it. They released the new exam starting January. So January 2, 2021, the new PMP exam was released. All right. The new PMP exam is a bit different than the old PMP exam in terms of content. Now, the new PMP exam expects you to know the content which is available in the PMBOK 7th edition. Okay, we don't have the 7th book edition yet. What do we do? Okay, what do? You rely on the PMBOK 6th edition. But the PMBOK 6th edition is different. No, content-wise is the same. Content-wise is the same. So if you're studying how to manage, people in the 6th edition, the way to manage people in the 7th edition is the same. It's just the structure is different. The chapters are different. The groupings are different. The percentages are different. But as content, as tools, as skills, as know-how, it's very similar. But you need to add on top of the 6th edition agility. All right. Now, what PMI did so that they don't put people in the dark, they updated something they call it ECHO, or exam content outline. Okay. And they say that individuals should look at this exam content outline while studying for the new exam till August. So if you look at this, okay, they will tell you that how the exam percentages will be. And they will tell you, listen, before going to the exam, make sure you know these concepts. Make sure you know how to manage conflict. Make sure you know how to lead a team. Make sure you know how to support team performance. From where I study these, it doesn't matter. You can use PMBOK 6 because PMBOK 6 contains this information. Okay. Or you can use any other additional books. And in their seminars or webinars, they usually give several references to several books. I don't know, I didn't keep that reference in my presentation, but usually they have on their website several references that you can use them to study. So support team performance, empower team members, stakeholders, ensure team members. So they created an examination content outline. They updated it in January. And they said, anybody who wants to sit for the exam, better make sure you know these concepts because the questions will be related to these concepts: people, process, and a business environment. Because majority of these concepts are out, most PMI trainers, most PMI registered education partners started or created or developed content to cover these. They developed content to cover these. So for example, when I teach a PMP, I have the slides to teach these, and I have the slides to teach these because in the industry, we cannot stay 7-8 months without having content to prepare people for the new examination. So if you take a course nowadays, a PMP course, an online or offline, and if the instructor knows about these new concepts, so he's using the new exam, he's preparing you for the new exam, his presentation and his concept should cover all of these new tasks or the new examination content, which is available on their website. All right, maybe a little bit confusing. I'm not sure. Let me finalize it, then I'll give you time for you to ask questions. A couple of other changes, apart from what you're preparing for, is the way the exam is. Now the exam is online. The exam is 180 questions rather than 200, and it's online proctored. So you sit in front of a computer, you log in, you don't need to go testing center, which makes easy for other people to have the access. You can do it 24/7. It's available 24/7. You can do it 4 a.m. There is no excuse that I'm busy, I have work, or I have whatever. You can do it at any time, over the weekend. You can schedule from your home. 180 exam questions, it's less. It's less in number of questions, Initially, the old version of the exam, if I just allow me 1 second. The older version of the exam had 200 questions. 175 questions were scored. 25 questions were unscored. And they used to do these 25 questions as experimentation. The new version of the exam contains 180 questions, 175 questions scored, and only 5 questions unscored. So actually they did not remove questions from the exam, they removed the ones that either way was not counted as part of the scoring, which is the experimental question, and they reduced it down to only 5 questions. Now, timing has shortened as well. In the old exam, you used to have 4 hours. In the new exam, is 3.5 hours. So they reduce your timing half an hour as well, because they removed 20 questions as well. The new exam is also composed of two mandatory breaks. 2 mandatory 10-minute breaks, which is online. So in a way, you do 60 questions in 70 minutes. Then there's a 10-minute mandatory break. 60 questions. It is mandatory, but you can immediately continue. So the break will come, but after 30 seconds or after 10 seconds, you don't want the break. You can say, I want to continue. But you have 10 minutes, and usually people take the 10 minutes fully because they want to rest, they want to go out, drink water, go to toilet or whatever. So another 70-minute, 60 questions, to break for 10 minutes, and then you do the last section, 60 questions, 70 minutes, and the exam will end, and you'll see your score immediately on the screen, whether it's pass or fail. It's online proctored exam using what they call OnView, which is a Pearson VUE online training system, which you can download it, or it's a software you download on your laptop or a computer, and you can do it from anywhere. So that's the new way the exam is. Now, one more addition they did, or one more change they did. It's not a big change. The change is the questions are no longer fully multiple choice questions. In the past, all the questions were multiple choice, A, B, C, D. In the new model, some questions, when I say some questions, it means they're less than 20%. Majority of the questions will still be multiple choice A, B, C, D, but some of the questions will be drag and drop. So there is the drag and drop option. There is click or a hotspot, they call it. Click on the screen, which is the right answer in a particular question, or click inside the box and type the right answer. And usually these questions will be numerical. Okay, based on this table, which risk ID has the highest risk. So you click inside the box and you type 4, or you type B, or you type something. So these are the new type of questions. Majority still will be multiple choice questions, but some of them will be drag and drop and hotspots. Did I forget anything? Yes, the exam is available in multiple languages. 10 plus languages the exam is available. I did not count them. It's not opening, but you can, it's 10 plus 16, 17 languages. The exam content is available, and the exam is available in these languages. But I've never recommended anybody to do other than the English. So that's it for my explanation. I'll be glad to hear your questions. If you have any questions for me to clarify or to give you more information about any of the things that we discussed.
Okay, thank you, Viken. Please, if anyone has any questions, you can just either type in the chat box, or you can just ask Viken directly. So you can ask in Armenian or in English, whatever you like. So I think we have in the chat box, the question is, will we get the presentation deck after the session? Yes, it's gonna be available on our website, the pmiarmenia.org website, and which will include the recording of this session as well. So probably tomorrow or maximum the day after, it will be sent to your email.
What else, guys? Anybody has any questions, any interest? You said that we can find the content in the 6th edition. Gore, yes. The Agile part, it's also available in the 6th edition. Now it depends. Let me show you. The 6th edition comes with an Agile practice guide. The Agile part is available in the Agile practice guide. So let me show you a quick example. Agile practice guide, and the Agile practice guide is available to download. This is the Agile practice guide. It's available. Why I'm showing you on Google and not on PMI? The Agile practice guide is available to download if you're a PMI member. So you can actually download the Agile practice guide and prepare for this. So that's the Agile practice guide. It's available to download by PMI members. And if you download as a PMI member, then you can cover all the concepts of Agile from this Agile practice guide. If you have purchased the official PMBOK 6, the Agile practice guide used to come with it as an additional book. So they used to sell one book and they used to give the Agile practice guide for free. Any other questions, guys? Did I answer your question, Gore? All right.
So I think we have another question from Anna Sarukhanian. Thank you for a great presentation. Which training resources or exam simulator would you recommend for PGMP?
Well, to be honest, Anna, I don't think, look, PGMP is not similar to PMP. When it comes to the exam preparation, the focus is more on the application rather than the exam and passing the eligibility. So if you want to, there are very few resources out there when it comes to PGMP. Why? Because 1 million people do PMP and only 3,000 people do the only 3,000 people do the PGMP. So very few, you know, these Rita book and you know PMP exam prep pass whatever, they're very few, these books. Very few authors or trainers, they actually do content on them. If you want to study PGMP, follow the PGMP standard. The material or the exam is fully focused on the practice guide, not the practice, the standard that they have, which is the 4th edition. We clicked on the wrong link. It is part of the, I think it's inside the foundation standard, the 4th edition of the PGMP guide. Okay, the standard for program management 4th edition. So exam is based on the standard for program management 4th edition. And if you're interested, Google PGMP on Udemy. I have courses on Udemy that prepares you for the PGMP exam. Gayane?
Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. It was very insightful, and honestly, when I knew about this new exam, I got very motivated to take this exam, especially when I saw that they started to really pay attention to that people part as well, although in the 6th edition it's also included. I have like a general question, like what do you think in the future? Will more managers take this exam or less, or do you see any risks in there? So what's your thoughts on that?
To be honest, I've been in the industry for more than 12, 13 years now, and what I usually tell organizations is that the PMP is a foundational standard, is not a specialization. So I believe every individual in any organization should at least take the PMP. We're not specializing in project management. We're learning management. We're learning leadership. We're learning how, if we have a task, to tackle the task. So if you're working in any organization, whether you operate in a mobile app industry or a banking or a finance or a tech, what we're learning is basic project management concepts, foundational standard, where it teaches you how to deal with people, how to understand the environment in which you operate, and how to actually run a project. Could be as small as a small event, or could be as big as an hotel. So I believe everybody should take it. When we say something like this, it means it seems like we're trying to sell them training courses or concept, but it's the common sense. It's a very foundational standard, you know. Only 260 people in Armenia. Shat kiche betke aveli illa. You know, because it's a foundational standard. Everybody should be encouraged to do it.
Yeah, thank you very much. And one question I have also, so any online kind of learning materials in Udemy or in other platforms, is it still relevant to take
Yes.
courses
Yes.
that were designed for 6th edition?
Yes, Nare is asking also the same question, Gayane. Look, guys, if you want to study for the new edition, you have multiple options, okay? Study the old edition, whether it's using Rita's book, whether it's using the PMBOK, whether it's using an online Udemy course, whether it's using anything. Studying the 6th edition or the old edition, content-wise, don't focus that 6.1 is a schedule management. Because the new exam is structured in a different ways. Nobody will ask you where is this and what is that. Focus on the content. How do you plan? How do you schedule? How do you risk? How do you identify requirements? How do you manage people? How do you deal with this? How do you focus on the content and the agility part. Focus on the content outline. So go to PMI, open the content outline, go to exam content outline. Okay, and in the exam content outline, read each task and try to understand, manage conflicts. From where you learn how to manage conflict, it doesn't matter. You need to know how to manage conflict. Is there manage conflict section in the 6th edition? Yes, study from there. No, study from another book. But most of these most of the concepts, when I say most, above 90%. Above 90%, yani maybe emotional intelligence, you won't find enough information, but most of these are available already in the PMBOK 6th edition. Plus the agility, which is the new concept, which is there, but in the practice guide. All right. So Nare, can you study from the 6th edition? Yes. Should you wait for the new edition? It's up to you. Do you want to wait 3-4 months to become certified? Wait. You don't want to wait 3-4-5 months? Start studying from somewhere. Even if you don't finish till that time and the new edition comes, you know, the information will not be completely new. Okay? You don't need the new book to do the new exam. If you take a proper course with a proper PMI rep or a proper ATP, authorized training provider, most of these training organizations are already delivering the new content. I've seen the book 1.5 years ago. My colleagues, my other trainers, seen the book 1.5 years ago. We are preparing other trainers, whether in Armenia or other countries, to teach the PMBOK 7 before the book comes. We know the content. We have the slides. We've done train the trainer sessions with PMI. They told us exactly what we need to train, every day. The content is out there. Okay, if you're an ATP, authorized training provider, we have the PowerPoint presentation, we have the slides, which if you take an official course, you'll be given those slides. So it's not like the content is not out there. The content is out there, but the book is not out there yet. But the content as material, it's available if you want to have it. You said that there are reference sources other than the PMBOK we can use. Can you show them where I can find them? I'll show you, Gor. I'll put a slide. Give me 1 second, and I'll put a slide for you. What are these references? These are PMBOKs. This is PMI's references. So this is from a slide. We've attended the session. Look at the date of the session, 23 June 2020. They have done a session for us in June last year, telling us about the new PMBOK. Okay, and these are the books to rely on. If you want my advice, go this and this is enough. Don't worry about these. This and this is enough, and both of these you can download them from PMI website if you become a member. If you're gonna do the exam, either way you need to become a member to get a discount on the exam, as well as, you know, to be part of a chapter, as well as to be, you know, if the second time you fail, it will be cheaper. So pay the membership now, become member, download the PMBOK guide 6th edition, download the practice guide, prepare for the exam. Do you need simulation? No. If I'm not a member, can I buy it? Yes, Gore, you can buy it. But between this book and this book, you know you're gonna pay almost the same price as the membership. Get a 1-year membership, then you'll save. Membership is $139, okay? And you'll get a $150 discount on the exam. So if you get a membership and eventually you want to do the exam will be cheaper, and then you get the books for free. This book is like, for non-members is around $69. This book is around $49. I'm not sure about the prices, but plus or minus, you're gonna end up paying almost the same. So why buy the books when you can actually pay the membership? Membership is for 1 year. And in the next 1 year, when you do the exam, you're gonna get back your money. You're gonna get back your money, which you paid. As well as you get the books. Thomas.
By the way, if you become a PMI member, then you can join the PMI Armenia chapter as well with no additional charge.
Yes. That's another benefit as well. All right. Somebody was asking about simulations. Which source of new exam simulation can you advise, Hasmik? No simulations are out there. What PMI is doing, they're trying to kill this industry. What industry? PMI is trying to kill all these companies that sell you simulation or sell you exams. Why? Because it's a business on top of their business. They don't want, because you don't know when you buy a simulation, Hasmik, how quality that simulation is. You know how close the concepts are. So what PMI is doing now, they're doing exam, what they call questions, and they're giving it to trainers. So for example, every 3 months, PMI sends us, ATP trainers, a package of 200 exam questions, and they tell us, teach those in your classes. Use these questions in the classes. So if you take a proper training, you'll receive these, what we call questions, which are very similar to the exam environment, written by PMI, not written by another author who claims he or she knows how the exam questions will be. What else, guys? Any other questions? Did I answer all the questions? Also, being a PMI member, you can attend free webinars and get PDUs. Yes, Anna. Correct. Any other questions, guys? How can we find a certified ATP training in Armenia? Thomas, that's for you.
Well, let me answer the question this way. Till the end of 2020, PMI, they had a training center which was called REP. It's a registered education provider. And the only rep in Armenia was the American University of Armenia, the open education, currently, I mean, effective from 1st January 2021, the REP has changed and evolved, and it's now being transformed into ATP, which is the authorized training provider. Currently, we're working with the American University of Armenia, the open education, in order to do this transition from REP to ATP. And maybe you can tell a few things about ATP and the differences, like just highlight the major differences between REPs and ATPs. I mean, why PMI has decided to change from REP to ATP.
Sure. If I want to go quickly about it, it's all the main focus that they need more control. PMP became an industry as its own. There were so many companies doing so much business out of PMP. They want to organize things. What happened is that they didn't know who's training PMP, what quality PMP is being trained, what material is out there. They had a book, but other books were being sold more than their book. Yani the PMBOK was not being sold as much as. So there were so many reasons that the PMP were becoming out of control. So PMI wanted to organize this thing. So they created now a platform. Now, if a participant takes a course with us, we give them access to PMI. They will get official material from PMI as an ATP. So they have a website access to PMI. They get official PowerPoint presentation, official material. They do evaluation about the trainer directly online. So everything is more organized. So that's a value that if you take a course with an authorized training provider or an authorized training authorized trainer, he has access to PMI material and he's giving you PMI material. He's not giving you any junk material out there in the market who somebody claims to be, you know, the best material to pass the PMP exam. If later we have questions, can we connect on LinkedIn? Yes, Gore. So if you have any questions, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. And I'll gladly help you guys. Thomas, I think Arsen has a question, which I think.
Yes. Should we wait for AUA to present a new PMP exam prep course this year? Well, I think this is in progress. It's a work in progress, and I think in few weeks' time, AUA will be announcing the new exam preparation courses. I mean, this is really not the chapter's responsibility, as I already explained. We're just helping and supporting them, but I am sure that in few weeks' time, AUA will be announcing this.
All right. What other questions do we have, guys?
So I think we're on time. We're out of time, Viken. So if you have any other questions, please, as Viken has already shared his LinkedIn profile. So I suppose you can connect with him directly and ask him questions. So, okay, let me check any other. Okay, so let me just take over the screen just for a few minutes, and we will finish with.
Let me just thank everybody. Thank you guys for participating. Very glad to have met you. Thank you, Thomas, for the opportunity. Hope to see you again soon, guys. Bye-bye.
Okay, we can.
I'll stay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So we would like to thank you for the presentation. I think it was very useful, as we already heard some of the people, like, you know, they were thanking you for this session. So we would like again to appreciate the work that you've done, the presentation. So we would like to send to you like this electronic certificate. It's a kind of a certificate of appreciation. So I will be sending to you in an email. So thank you once again, Viken. And just like another thank you to our event organizers, Creo. And also, if you want to volunteer with PMI Armenia, so you can certainly do it. So you don't, as I said, you don't need to be a PMP certificate holder in order to volunteer. So you can contact Sona Matinian. She's the Vice President of Volunteering, and this is her email. And if I'm not mistaken, I think she was connected. Yeah, she's connected. Yes, she's over there. So you can.
I'm here. Feel free to contact me in case of any inquiries or if you decide to become part of our community.
Okay, thank you, Sona. And so again, if you want to connect with PMI Armenia, this is the website. It's pmiarmenia.org. We have a Facebook page. You can please follow us so that you can always know the latest updates. We have the Twitter account also, although Twitter is not very common in Armenia. So we have the LinkedIn profile as well, and this is our email. So as I said, the presentation and the recording of the session will be available within the next 2 days. So please follow us, and you can visit our website in 2 days in the resources section to check it out. All right. So once again, thank you for attending this event. Thank you, Sona, and thank you so much to Viken, our today's presenter. All right. So have a nice day, have a good evening, and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.